Good news for Nigerian students. Let's celebrate. Why? Because it is very possible to study in Switzerland using your NECO, okay? So if you are thinking of going for Switzerland for bachelor's degree this year 2026, now it is very possible to use your NECO to apply for schools in Switzerland for Nigerian students. And why do I say good news? Because most schools in Europe don't accept Nigerians to apply with their NECO. So that's why I say good news, because it is now becoming very rare, or let me say difficult for students in Nigeria to apply for schools in Europe using their bachelor's, their NECO, okay? And again, height in Switzerland is not mandatory, okay? So you can go for schools in Switzerland without showing your height result. It's not mandatory, except you are coming from, let me say, a French background or a Spanish background. Except students who are coming in from countries like Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Ivory Coast, Angola, Mozambique. I mean, those Spanish-speaking and French-speaking countries, okay, those students will have to show their height result. But if your previous study was in English, you can apply for schools in Switzerland without showing your height result. So it is very, very possible. However, schools in Switzerland will charge you per semester for the tuition fees, okay? So it is not like per year like most schools in Europe, okay? Schools in Switzerland will charge you per semester, just like in Finland also. Finland will charge you per semester, I think from 8,000 euros and above per semester, okay? And the bad thing here is that, let me smile a bit. The bad thing here is that most students won't apply for schools in Switzerland. Yes, I mean, I'm very sure, I'm very, very confident, okay? I'm very, very sure. Most students, like most African students, like mostly Cameroonians, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Sierra Leoneans, and so many other African countries, okay? These students from these countries would apply for schools in Switzerland. Not because the school has some kind of restriction, but because the school has a very high proof of funds, extremely high. Take for instance, those who are coming in from Nigeria, proof of funds to Switzerland is 21,000 Swiss francs as of now, 2026, okay? Which means that for Nigerian students, you have to pay roughly around 38 million naira, I think so. Yes, I think, let me check. Yes, 38.4 million naira, okay? Those from Cameroon have to pay 14.8 million francs fee, and Ghanaians have to pay 275,000 Ghana cedis. Guys, this amount is so high, okay? That's why I say most students would apply for schools in Switzerland, because this proof of funds will limit so many students, guys. So I know this for sure. However, schools in Switzerland are very, very, like, they're not that expensive. Yes, they're very, very cheap and considerate, okay? And you can apply starting from, let me say, admissions in Switzerland began on the 1st of January this month, and it will run right up to April. Is it April or May? Let me check. Yes, April, okay? So admission began on the 1st of January, and it will last right up to April, okay? So if you are thinking of going for schools in Switzerland, please, this is the time. Apply for schools in Switzerland right now after you watch this video, okay? Because the admission is currently open. There are so many great schools in Switzerland. We have schools like the University of Basel, the University of Bern, the University of Geneva, the University of Lugano, and so many other universities in Switzerland, okay? So you can go for any of these schools in Switzerland that are currently open right now for admission. And talking about the visa approval rate to Switzerland, the visa approval rate is like, it's high. It's not that low, it's high, okay? Why? Because so many students don't go for schools in Switzerland. I've talked about this country before in my other video. Go to my page and watch that video if you haven't watched that video, okay? The visa approval rate to this country is very, very high. I would say it should be around 80 right now. Yes, 75, 80 as of now, okay? So please take all this into consideration. And you must have a block account, okay? You must have a block account to study in Switzerland. Now, some banks in Africa are affiliated to Switzerland, okay? Some banks in Africa. Let me take, for example, those in Nigeria. You can have a block account using some banks in Nigeria, okay? We have banks like Zenith Bank. We have FCMB Bank. And we have Providos Bank and some other banks in Nigeria, okay? Just in Cameroon, you can use a bank called Societe Generale, okay? So please take all this into consideration. And for students who are thinking of going in there for PhD in Switzerland is free of charge, okay? They won't charge you anything for PhD. So you can go in there for PhD and you can study there for free right now, 2026. Now let's talk about the tuition fees. The tuition fees in Switzerland is not that expensive, okay? I've noticed that in Europe, when a country charges you high proof of funds, okay, that country won't charge you much for the tuition fees. Or let me say, if a country charges you high amount of money for tuition fees, in return, the country won't charge you high amount of money for proof of funds, okay? I've noticed this in Europe. There are so many countries which I've talked about which have this balance, okay? So please take note of this. In Switzerland, they'll charge you just about, for bachelor's degrees, okay, you can pay something under 1,500 euros. I think it should be in the Swiss francs. So if you convert the Swiss francs into euros, it will give you something under 1,500 euros, okay? So it's very, very cheap as compared to other countries in Europe. And for requirements, you know what to do. If you have to study in this country, please check the website, okay? Do your own research. That'll be all for now. If you have any more questions about this country, okay, please tell me down below in the comment section and I will make sure to answer those questions as soon as possible, okay? Thanks for watching again, and please like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so, and please share the video so that they reach out to more students out there, okay? Thanks for watching again, and see you next week in another video.